Welcome to the Vol Bros. My name is Evan. This is my brother Woo Pigs, not Suey. Woo Pig. I'm guessing also not Suki.
Nope.
I'm gonna probably guess Woo Pig Sucky. I think
Yep.
that's what he's going for. Uh, we're two Vol Bros. I totally forgot the rest of my intro line there because I was doing the
Gotcha.
name. We are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life, and Tennessee plays football this almost said Friday, this Saturday. It is, man. Bye weeks are so long. They're just so long. So Tennessee travels to Arkansas Saturday night, and Arkansas's 3-2. They started their season with a 70-0 win against Arkansas Pine Bluff. I hear they're really good. Then they lost an overtime game at Oklahoma State, 39-31. They did beat UAB at home 37-27, so a 10-point win over UAB, which probably isn't great. They lost at Auburn they won at Auburn 24-14, which in my opinion was the who's not worse game. And then they lost at Texas A&M this last week 21-17. So they have not yet had a bye week. Tennessee's coming off a bye week. So, Rustin, what do you hope to see for Saturday night?
So when we get into deeper, I've got a bunch of stats I'm going to give, but what I want to see is I want to see our defensive line live in the backfield. I want to see us pound the football because they are very bad on the defensive line. And then use the run game to set up the pass game and beat them over the top. I'll just put this out there. Their third leading tackler would not be playing for us right now. So, when Danico Slaughter is your third leading tackler and he's on your roster because Tennessee's coaches said, hey, you need to find somewhere else to be because you ain't playing here anymore. Yeah, that's the defense we're facing.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Tennessee come out and put on a show and take care of business. I want to see Nico throw for 3 touchdowns, and I want to see Dane Davis not step on the field, so that I went back and watched the Oklahoma game today, just because I've been at home sick, which somebody asked, like you said, sounds like you're feeling better. I am. I've been home literally all week. Today, right now, actually, this is the best I've sounded since last Thursday night. So I'm living the dream right now, man. This is great. If I can just stop this coughing, then we'll be good. I did try. I can't remember who it was. Somebody said try pineapple juice. So I did that. I did twice. And whatever I had, it was too intense for the pineapple juice. But I appreciate that recommendation. Let's see. That game, there was I think it was either first or second fumble against that Nico had where he got hit from the blind side. And he was setting up to throw deep. And Dane Davis just totally whiffed on the dude. I think it was the first one. And I mean, didn't even touch the guy. Literally did not even touch him. And the guy just made a great play. Second time, Dane Davis was on. That was it when he was at left tackle. So they flipped him over to right tackle. Literally the exact same thing happened. He just olayed the dude, and the dude went right past him. Guy made a great play, hit the ball out of Nico's hands. And both times, literally the very next play, our defense got a turnover and got the ball back. It's incredible. So I want to see Nico have time to throw the ball deep. Now, Lance Hurd and John Campbell, neither one of them were on the injury report for this week. So that means they both should be playing.
In any way. They were not listed even as questionable or anything like that. Like, they are full go.
So it is my sincere hope that they do have time. They give Nico time, and Nico's able to have a little coming out party this Saturday night. That would be my hope. Mina, like he said, evening bros in chat. Hey, we're glad you're with us. Carson, welcome, buddy. He said, good evening, Vol bros. I'm looking forward to another great weekend in Tennessee football. Absolutely. Dester said, go Vols by 40. Good to have you, Dester. Monica, great to see you. Papa J, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. He said, let's see if our elite defense against Arkansas and see if we are elite against Bama. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Let's see. HC14 already given his prediction. Okay. He said Vols 45, Arkansas 10. Let's see. Elijah, good to see you, buddy. Let's see here. Keg said go Big Orange. Absolutely. Oh, Mina Likey likes your name. She said this may be the best one you've had yet.
I try.
Jared, welcome, buddy. Hey, I think today's Jared's birthday. No, that was Michael Cook. Jared's birthday was yesterday or something like that. I can't remember. Jared, let me know, man, when your birthday was. I think it was recently. He said, do y'all think this could be a trap game for Florida and Bama? No. That's a really good question. And I'll say no for two reasons. Number one, it's after a bye week. Heupel never loses after a bye week. He's super focused.
Literally, in the 3 years he's been at Tennessee. So this is one of the stats I was going to give it later. He's after a bye week, he's 3-0 with an average win of 13 points.
So I don't think it'll be a trap game. In addition, after what an Arkansas did today, there's no way they're going to be overlooking this.
And I would also add those 3 wins were Texas A&M, LSU, and Kentucky. So all 3 of them were legit programs. He's 3-0 with an average victory of 35-22 after a bye week.
So if anybody didn't see what Arkansas did today, they announced their team captains for Saturday's game. And Addison Nichols, former Tennessee offensive lineman, and Danico Slaughter, former Tennessee defensive back, were 2 of the captains. That, I'm sure, was a total coincidence that had nothing to do at all with where they used to play football.
What's more interesting is both of those individual anchor Arkansas's 2 worst position groups. So that was interesting.
I don't think that was by accident. I'll say that. Let's see. AC14 said over under 50 and a half tackles for loss. That's a lot of tackles for loss in one game. I'm gonna say under on that. Mississippi Vol liked it. Hey, man, but it's good to have you, buddy. He liked your name too. Jared, he talked about the captains too. I didn't see that till just now. Keck says time for Nico to leave, no doubt. Absolutely. Oh, Bobby, I like it, man. I like it. Bobby said Hawaiian Lou. Sorry, dadgummit. Bobby said Hawaiian Luau week, Polynesian chef Nico's specialty. They're going to be roasting hogs on the spit. That's what they're going to do. I like it. I like it. HC14 says the longest bye week ever. Sam, welcome, buddy. He said, heard Austin Price say that Campbell would be dealing with a knee issue until the end of the season. Was it his knee or his ankle? I can't remember. Hey, Michael, I knew it was your birthday. I remember. So I posted a office. It is your birthday. GIF on Michael's Facebook wall today because I know Michael's a big Office fan. So it's good to see you, Michael. I hope you have a fantastic birthday, man. Really do. Oreo Puppy Dog said go Big Orange. Absolutely. Let's see. TriStar. When am I going to get an invite to the show? Need some Polk County representation. Well, buddy, you're welcome to join us anytime in the comments here, just like this. Anytime you want, man. You are welcome to anytime. Let's see. Elijah said, so based on Heupel's record after bye weeks, take a win and cover. Got it. Jared. Oh, okay. I knew it was recent. So his birthday was last week, but he said today was his anniversary. That makes sense. I remember wishing him happy anniversary here on Facebook this morning. Let's see. AC14 said, I'm hoping Squirrel White can get more involved. Absolutely.
I would almost say you can bank on that, because who will be covering Squirrel White? Nico Slaughter. And we all know Nico's issues in coverage. So we all got firsthand experience on that one. So I would almost expect Squirrel to have a big day.
All right. So Sam, let me know. He clarified for me. All right. So Lance Hurd was the ankle. He said John Campbell is having to have his bursa sac around his knee drained regularly.
So that's actually a good thing. Like, that's just an irritation. That's not a full on injury. So they'll just keep draining it. They'll give him a cortisone shot from time to time, make it feel better, and he'll just play with it for the rest of the year and be fine.
Austin said, I think Venables named Dejon Terry a captain when we played Oklahoma as well.
He did. That didn't really work out either.
Michael said, if you weren't sick, you could sing happy birthday, high pitch Michael Scott style. Man, it would be my pleasure. But I think we might lose all of our viewers if I did that right now. Let's see here. Sam said John Campbell is on limited snaps. Well, I hope that Johnson is the one who replaces him, not Dane Davis.
He will. They'll slide Jeremy Johnson in there. I mean, Larry Johnson in there.
Mr. Osborne, welcome, buddy. He said, go Big Orange, everybody. Are Lance Hurd and John Campbell playing this week? They are, but apparently John Campbell has been placed on limited snaps. But they will be playing. Papa J said, hope we have 2 100-yard rushers. That'd be great. I would love that. I hope we have a 300-yard passer as well. That's what I'm hoping. Well, all right. So based on that, Sunday night is Rustin's anniversary. So I was thinking about that earlier. It's October 6th.
Yeah, it is.
Don't worry, Amy doesn't watch the show, so it's good.
Mm-hmm.
So do we need to bump it up to 8 p.m. or do I just need to do it solo, or you want to talk about that later on, or?
Yeah, we can talk about it later. I don't know.
Because we'll be live at some point. It might just be me, but we'll or maybe we can bump it to Monday. I don't know. We'll let people know. But typically what we do is on Sunday nights at 9 is our recap show. And one thing we do on Thursday is we say, okay, so who are we going to be talking about on Sunday? So who do you think is going to shine for the Big Orange, who are apparently going to be wearing white helmets, white jerseys, and orange pants? Now, what I did not notice today, I didn't see anything about cleats. The graphic they posted said all white accessories. So that means like armbands and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. They might be out there in white cleats. I don't know. So who do you think we're going to be talking about when this is all said and
done? Bryson Eason and Omar Norman Lott to start with. And then offensively, Dylan Sampson.
I'd say that's pretty strong combo. So for people who may not recognize the names you just mentioned, that on the defensive side of the ball, both of those dudes play where?
They're going to line up directly over Addison Nichols.
Exactly.
So the starting offensive lineman at Arkansas who couldn't make our depth chart, and who is anchoring a really, really bad offensive line. So I shouldn't say really bad. They're okay against the run. They're awful in pass protection. So the fact that they are so bad in pass protection tells me that Bryson Eason and Omar Norman Lott are going to have a field day just flying past Addison Nichols, which, by the way, they have a lot of experience doing because they've done it every day in practice for the last 2 years. So he's used to seeing it too.
Well, and to your point, I mean, here's the thing. People talk about Arkansas's defense and offense and that kind of thing. When they talk about Arkansas's offense, they talk about, man, it's just a powerful, such a stout rushing attack. Their quarterback is in the top 10 rushers in the SEC. Their quarterback. Now, here's the thing. That's not really a good thing if you're an Arkansas fan. I mean, yeah, cool. Your quarterback's chunking up a bunch of yards. But the reason that's happening is because they know they can't protect him long enough for him to sit back and throw the ball. So they're having to do design runs. And when he escapes the pocket, that's how he's getting these massive chunk plays.
Yep.
And so it's not that it's like a really big luxury. I mean, I'm sure it is, because otherwise they'd have zero offense. It's that their offensive line cannot hold up against the teams they've played. Now, I invite you to consider the teams they've played. Oklahoma State. Tennessee has a better defensive line than Oklahoma State.
Half the Big 12 has a better defensive line than Oklahoma State. They're not playing well.
Yep. I mean, they did play Arkansas Pine Bluff. They're pretty stout up front, my understanding.
Yep.
UAB, Auburn. None of those guys have a defensive line anywhere near as good as Tennessee.
And this is a UAB team that is performing so poorly that Trent Dilfer is now on the hot seat. And Arkansas just barely escaped them.
And so then you look at Texas A&M, a little bit better defensive line than Auburn, but still not as good as Tennessee. So this is the toughest defensive line that they're going to see yet this season.
Technically, according to national stats, it's the toughest defense period they're going to see, because right now we're the number one defense in America.
That's exactly right. And so that massive rushing attack is going to see something that they have not yet seen this year. And that's Tennessee's front 19. They're going to have 14. I counted it. We've been saying on here, they don't really have like a front 7, and even on their defensive line, we've said they can rotate 14 dudes out there and feel like they're not losing talent. So this week I counted the depth chart when they posted it on Monday with all the ors, because it was like starters, this guy or this guy or this guy or this guy.
Mm-hmm.
There were 14 starters listed as or on the defensive line. The exact number that we've been saying for weeks now. Months, really. So, not only do you have those dudes, but then you've got Arion Carter, Keenan Peely, Jeremiah Thielander, right behind them, who are not going to let people escape. So, and then if by some chance somehow they get anywhere near them, Jacoby Thomas is going to come flying in like a missile off screen and then just blow somebody up. So they will not have the rushing success that they've had in the past this weekend. It just won't happen. It won't happen. Some of the comments coming through. Oh, I didn't give my answer about who we're gonna be talking about. I think overall it's gonna be Nico, because Heupel, he was conservative against Oklahoma. He even told Nico after the game, listen, I pulled back really because Dane Davis wasn't protecting him. He didn't want Nico to die. That's why he pulled back on Nico, but he's going to have his offensive line back in there this week. He's going to let Nico air it out a little bit. I know he is. So I think that's why we're going to be talking about Nico. But on defense, I mean, take your pick. Take your pick of defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Take your pick of, I mean, listen, Keenan Peely and Arion Carter, their job is going to be like, all right, Green quarterback, Don't let him escape. They're gonna be like, sounds great. Let's go do it. And so they're gonna have tons of tackles. So it's gonna be fun. Some of the comments came through. Sam said we need to see your young offensive linemen get a chance. Well, that happens if we start winning by a lot, which could happen. But that's hopefully that happens because that means we're winning by a ton. Mr. Osborne said that's his favorite road uniform combination. I agree. Carson said, I hope James Pierce Jr. gets more involved. I agree, man. I hope he gets sacked. I mean, he's been incredibly close a few times. He's been wreaking havoc in the backfield. Just the numbers hadn't worked out perfectly for him yet.
The one thing that plays in his favor this weekend, Arkansas is extremely injured at tight end. And what most teams have been doing is they've been keeping the tight end in and double teaming him with the tackle and tight end. If Arkansas's tight ends, all top three, are as injured as their depth or their injury list says they are, odds are they're not going to keep him in to chip him, and he's going to have a lot of one-on-ones with the right tackle, and that plays to his favor significantly.
So Keg has a very specific prediction here. He said 200 yards rushing, 250 passing, a blocked punt, and the defense gives us 10 points. I mean, okay, that's cool. Let's see. Elijah said Squirrel's going to go crazy. I mean, like he said, Dylan Sampson's who we're going to be talking about. That'd be great too. That would be wonderful. That means we're controlling the ball. Sam said, I think the defense employs a mush rush to keep their quarterback in the pocket.
It's possible.
I look for him to meet our linebackers if he gets out of the pocket. Yeah, I agree with that totally. I mean, they're going to tell Keenan Peely and Arion Carter, make him not have fun, and that's what's going to happen. Papa J said their quarterback's having to run for his life. Yeah, that's right. Keg said that they're wearing orange breeches. Yes, they are. White, orange is what they're wearing. Let's see. Austin said Arion Carter is going to lead us in tackles. Very well might. That's the very good prediction. He could definitely do that. Like he said, something about them orange breeches. That's exactly right. Sanders, good to see you. She said, hey, y'all doing tonight? We are fantastic. We're glad you're with us. Bobby said, I'll be interested to see if our secondary can lock down the receivers. Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. They're going to have every opportunity to, because they're going to be playing one-on-one, so they can just stack the box and just protect the run. That's what I mean. So they will have an opportunity. I would not be shocked if Arkansas has less than 125 yards passing in this game. That wouldn't shock me at all. Because they can't keep him. They can't keep him off the ground long enough for him to stand back there and throw the ball any longer than that. Let's see. Arp said Arion Carter's gonna have a huge game. He'll keep the quarterback from scrambling. Absolutely. Bobby said they're going to keep Taylor Green in the pocket. I agree. Papa J said, I would much rather see us in man-to-man and not the cover two. I like that cover two little. I mean, listen, they're going to stack the box like crazy. Because, I mean, I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think both the quarterback and the running back, the number one running back at Arkansas, are both in the top 10 rushing yards in the SEC right now in the season.
They are, but that's partly because they're terrible at throwing the ball.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And the other thing I would add, their number 2 running back is out. He's listed as not playing. So that means Taylor Green and the starting running back are both going to take a lot of hits. and their third string running back would never see the field for us. Like, he's just not good. So they're going to lean on that starter. I would not want to be a running back having to play our defense all night. Like, you're going to take a pounding.
Absolutely. Herb said keep the quarterback from scrambling. The ends have to hold the edge. For sure. I totally agree. That's exactly right. They can't rush past the quarterback. I got to keep leverage on him. I agree.
But that's honestly where we're different than every other defense he's played. I mean, when James Pierce and Joshua Josephs are coming off the edge, we've got two ends that are every bit as athletic as he is. So, you know, he's not going to outrun them. They'll run him down. So it's going to be interesting to see what in the world they try to scheme.
Backflip Spaghetti said, "What's up, fellas? Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. Been a while. Good to see you." Mr. Osborne said, "I saw where Addison, Nichols, and Danico Slaughter are captains." Yep, they sure are. You're exactly right. And I'm sure that didn't rub anybody the wrong way in Knoxville. Let's see. Not to give Tennessee bulletin board material or anything, but Sanders asked about the basketball team. I'll tell you what, we'll come back to that at the end. That'll be a fun question we can end on. Let's see. Mississippi All said, I'm going to say we're going to be talking about Dillon on offense and Keenan Peely on defense. I think he's going to introduce himself to Mr. Green early and often. I agree. He said, "Oh yeah, and hit that like button, everybody." Hey, that's fantastic advice. I think that's great advice. Everybody should do that. And you know, while we're talking, and I never remember to do this. So hey, while we're talking about it, if y'all wanted to subscribe to the channel, that'd be amazing. Well, that would be so cool. So we would love that. Herb said, "I expect them to use extra tight ends to help block, but one of them is out, I think."
So I'm going to talk about that at the end when we do our score prediction, but actually they employ 3 tight ends and all 3 of them are severely injured. One is not playing and the other 2 are questionable. And one of the ones that was questionable was listed as doubtful, and one of the ones that's questionable just got reduced to doubtful. So out of their top 3 tight ends, all 3 are injured. One isn't playing at all. One may not play at all. And one's going to be playing injured.
Well, let's do it. Let's give our score predictions.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
All right. So I'm a numbers nerd. I like stats. Right now, nationally, Tennessee is the number 3 offense in the country. Arkansas is number 13. Kudos to Bobby Petrino. He has found a way to help them score in light of their pass protection issues. Their offensive line is okay against the run. They are awful against the pass. Defensively, and this is one thing that I think matters significantly, the number 1 defense in America as of today is the University of Tennessee. Arkansas is number 47. And they have not faced a legitimate offense yet. So they are 47th defense in the country, and they haven't played anyone that's good on offense. And I don't want to hear anybody say, what about Oklahoma State? That's a bad Oklahoma State team. They're at best average.
I think is now out of the top 25.
Yeah. Ollie Gordon has thrown a no-show. He has been non-existent. That team is bad. So, you know, they haven't faced anyone offensively, and they're the number 47 defense in the country. As I said earlier, their third leading tackler is Danico Slaughter. So their third leading tackler is a guy who would not start for us and was told to find somewhere else to play because he wasn't going to play here. This is probably the biggest sign to me that their defense is bad. 3 of their top 4 tacklers are defensive backs. Let me say that again. 3 of their top 4 tacklers are defensive backs.
That's not good.
No, that means their DBs are having to make all the tackles, which means every tackle's happening 8 to 10 yards downfield.
Imagine Dylan Sampson reading that stat. He's like, salivating.
Yeah. That means their defensive line is terrible. It means their linebackers are average, and their DBs are having to make all the tackles. So right now, Tennessee is number 8 in the country in quarterback pressures. And this speaks to that pass protection I talked about. Arkansas is right now number 103 in the country in sacks allowed. Last week against an average A&M team, they allowed 10 tackles for loss. So,
not great, Bob.
because of all those reasons and the fact that Bobby Petrino loves to use tight ends, and as I just said, they're all injured, so they're going to be very limited at tight end. He also loves to use play action. Well, the number 2 running back is out. He's not playing at all, and the number 3 running back is not good. So there aren't a whole lot of play actions they can run when you only have 1 running back and no tight ends. So Bobby Petrino is now limited on what he can call, which hurts that number 13 offense. The defense is a sieve. I think this is going to be 2021 Missouri game. I think we're going to walk in there and just score at will before anybody blinks. And everybody's going to be looking around going, what's happening? For those of you who don't remember, we were up 45-10 at halftime in 2021 at Missouri. Tennessee scored 4 touchdowns in the first 10 minutes. I think this is going to be a replay of that.
That was the Tyon Evans 94-yard touchdown run.
Yep.
Game.
I think this is going to be a replay of that, and we are going to beat them 56-17. And I think the 17 is going to come later in the game against our backups.
So that is very interesting that you mentioned the Missouri game. We never talk about our predictions like beforehand. Like we don't do that. But I legit, when I was thinking about how this game might unfold, I legitimately thought about, it might be like that time we went to Missouri and we just pounded them. Like that was literally in my mind, like beating Missouri, just like a drum. And so that's funny that you and I thought the same game as an example of what this could get like. Here's my prediction. I'm going to say originally I was going to say 47-20 Tennessee wins. Because I figure maybe Arkansas could get, I don't know, maybe like 2 touchdowns. I don't think they're going to score they might score 1 touchdown in the first half, maybe. But I think the other one might come later on, like late in the fourth quarter, something like that. So at first I was like, well, if they get 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals, okay, I might could see that. But then I realized, no, that would give them 20 points. And I legitimately do not think our defense will give up 20 points to this offense. I really don't. I don't think it's going to happen. And so because of that, I'm going to say 47-19. I don't know how they're going to get 19. I don't know how that's going to happen, but that would be a weird number to get in a football score. But I think that somehow I can't give them 20. I just can't. So I'm going to say 47-19. So Rustin's saying 57. What was Arkansas?
56-17.
56-17. All right. So Rustin's saying 56-17. I'm going to say 47-19. That's what I'm saying. Some of the other comments coming in, people giving their predictions. Backflip Spaghetti said this could be ugly for Arkansas. Absolutely. So they're saying 37-13, go Big Orange. 37 Tennessee wins. Big Dave, welcome, buddy. He said Vols by 50. Legitimately, they could this game. It legit might happen. Mississippi Vols said, I agree about our ends. Russ, and Arkansas better not forget we have the law firm of Peely and Carter to deal with behind them. Also, Mr. Thomas just loves knocking people into the next week. Yeah. Okay, Jacoby Thomas might be I think Jermod McCoy might be the most valuable addition out of the transfer portal, but I'm not kidding. Jacoby Thomas might be the funnest to watch out of the transfer portal. Whoa, man, that dude hits people, man. Oh my goodness. It's unreal. Austin said 41-14. I think that's a really strong prediction. Rhonda, welcome, Rhonda. Good to have you. I think this is a fantastic prediction. Vols 42, Arkansas 10. That's the thing about Tennessee's defense, and that's why, honestly, Rhonda might be right that they only scored 10 points, because I love the fact that Tennessee's defense takes it personally, and they make it a personal challenge to not let the other team do anything, much less score. And so I think that could very legitimately end up being the score right there, 42-10. I think that's a great one. Let's see. Braden's with us. Hey, Braden, good to have you, buddy. He said, what did I miss? Well, a lot. We did our what we want to see happen. We did our who we think is going to be player of the game kind of stuff. So now we're doing our prediction. So give us your prediction in the comments, and we'll be love to put it up here. Let's see. Jeremiah, welcome. He said nobody has run on Arkansas starting defense. That Texas A&M defensive line was all 5-star. Arkansas has a 250-pound running back named Russell who have been getting more yards per carry than Jackson. So I'm guessing Jeremiah is an Arkansas fan.
So and Jeremiah is completely wrong. So the Russell kid has 16 carries for 62 yards, which is an average of 3.9 per carry. He's third on the rushing list in yards per carry, behind, or fourth really if you include the quarterback. So that's not accurate. And I hate to tell you this, Jeremiah, but if the Russell kid was at Tennessee, he would be redshirting. He would never see the field. This is a totally different offense than anything you all have faced. Yes, Oklahoma's defensive line is okay. I would not call them great. They are okay. That is Texas A&M is okay. That is a Texas A&M defense that Tennessee would run roughshod over. You haven't played anyone. The teams you're playing are average. I'm just being honest. I mean, look at the scores. Look at the records. Like, none of these teams are overly impressive. And if you take out that awful Arkansas Pine Bluff game, you're giving up 93 yards a game rushing. But if you take out that horrendous Arkansas Pine Bluff team who only had 7 yards rushing because they have no business being on a field, you're giving up 115 yards a game rushing against 4 very average offenses. So just saying, be prepared for first half. Everybody kind of looking around going, where did all these running backs come from and why can't we catch them? That's what's going to happen.
Well, there is a statistic that backs up what you're saying about Tennessee's rushing attack. Tennessee is currently number 1 in the SEC in rushing and number 4 in the country in rushing. So everybody talks about Heupel's offense being this like pass heavy, throw it around the yard kind of stuff. No, it starts and ends with the run. He is very committed to running the football. And that's, people talking about, the wide splits, man, the splits are so wide. Well, yeah, because it creates running lanes. That's why they're out there. So that's why if I'm a running back in high school and Tennessee calls me, I'm listening, because it's like, it blows my mind. It's like, it's a shock every year. Like, oh, wow, Tennessee has one of the leading rushers in the country right now. Well, of course they do, because they do every single year. People just think about Heupel's offense and they think it's a pass heavy offense, but it's not. Jeremiah said nobody has ran the ball on our starters and we held Auburn to less than Oklahoma.
Not true. UAB, who is awful and whose head coach is probably going to get fired, ran the ball for 119 yards on you and you almost lost.
Yeah. 10-point win. Let's see, Brennan, when we were now saying we didn't even talk about this and we thought of the same game. Brennan said, well, y'all are bros in real life. Well played, Brennan. Well played, buddy. I like that. That was good. Let's see here. Bobby said, I'd like to see us hold them to no touchdowns. Man, I would too. That'd be awesome. Backflip Spaghetti said 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. I think that legit might happen, actually. That's a very good prediction. That's a very good prediction. Let's see. Jeremiah said Arkansas is 13th in the country on total offense and number 2 in the country on first down offense.
Okay.
Yes.
Problem is on 2nd and 3rd down, you have to pass block. That hasn't worked out too well.
So here's the thing. If anybody watched the Arkansas and Auburn game, Jeremiah, it was tough to watch, man. Like as just a person who enjoys watching college football.
If you watch the Arkansas UAB game, it was a 3-point game with 6 minutes left. UAB is horrendous. They're calling for Trent Dilford to be fired mid-season. They went 4-8 last year. They're 1-3 now, and they're trending toward another 4-8 season. It was 30-27 with 6 minutes left in the game.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was unimpressed with the offensive efficiency by either team in the Arkansas on the Auburn game. It was like nothing to nothing forever, and then 7-7 in the third quarter, and finally people scored a little bit in the fourth quarter. Braden said Vols win 49-17. That's really close to my prediction. I said 47-19, so that's pretty good. Kevin said, welcome, Kevin. Good to have you. He said Vols 42-17. Yep. Bobby said 45-9. I like that. That's a good one. Because that would mean, essentially it'd be 3 field goals. I don't think they're going to get a safety on Tennessee, but I think that's very, very possible. Yeah, I think that's good. Jeremiah, I would also remind you, he said, you're coming to our house and it's going to be a dogfight. I agree. The problem is, we've always heard it's not the size of the fight in the dog. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. I think the problem is not even that for Arkansas. I think the problem is how many dogs are coming to the fight wearing orange. That's the problem. This is the deepest team that Josh Heupel has had since he's been at Tennessee. This might be no exaggeration because they're 14 people deep on defensive line, and all 14 are scholarship athletes. It might be the single deepest defensive line. Certainly in my lifetime, 39 years, maybe more. I know that there were great defensive lines like Big John Henderson, Albert Hainsworth. All these incredible dudes that have played defense, at Reggie White that have played at Tennessee. But we're talking about teams that had 4, 5, 7 guys that were studs and that they could rotate in and out. We're talking about 14. Prime example at Oklahoma, Jason Jenkins, who I think is a 4th string interior lineman.
Yep.
First snap of the game, he gets in, busts in the backfield, and gets a safety. First snap of the game for him. So yeah, I don't think Oklahoma or Arkansas fans totally understand the depth that's coming to Fayetteville this weekend.
They also don't. They have red color, or I guess rose colored glasses. Again, I go back to the starting center, Addison Nichols, who at SEC Media Days, Sam Pittman said is anchoring their offensive line, could never see the field at Tennessee for 2 years because everybody was beating him out. And he was getting whipped on a daily basis by our defensive linemen. The same two defensive linemen who have abused him for the last 2 years and who will both be NFL draft picks this fall or this summer are going to line up over him the entire game. It's going to be a bad day for him.
Let's see. Bill said, hey, welcome, Bill. Good to have you. He said 41-12 Vols. That's a good prediction. I think that's a good one. Herb said 54-10 Vols. I mean, dude, that'd be awesome. I'd love it if they cross 50. They could. I mean, they legit could. Oh, Jeremiah. Jeremiah said, you won't run the ball.
It's going to be a bad day for you, Jeremiah. You're gonna struggle.
So, Jeremiah, just so you know, all 5 of Tennessee's starting offensive linemen are going to be playing this weekend. That is a 5-star left tackle, Lance Hurd, a 6th-year senior, Andre Carrick, at left guard, a 6th-year senior and arguably the best offensive lineman in the SEC, Cooper Mays, at center. Certainly the best.
Who Cole Kublik said is the best center in the SEC.
Yep. Right guard, 6th-year senior, Javonte Spraggins, and right tackle, also a 6th-year senior, John Campbell Jr. Now, in case you lost count with me there, left tackle, not a 6th-year senior, but a 5-star. Literally everybody else, 6th-year seniors. They played some ball. They're pretty good. It's probably Tennessee's best offensive line since 2012.
4 of the 5 will end up in the NFL.
Yeah, I just don't. I can't say I agree with you there, Jeremiah. I can't say I agree with you. Let's see. Mr. Osborne said 48-16 Vols. I like that. That's good. That would end up being 1 touchdown, 3 field goals. I like that. That's a good prediction. Andrew said 38-17. That's a good one too. All these are good. They're all going to be right in that range. Let's see. Sam said Arkansas stands a better chance to move the ball in the first half. Once their O-line gets tired, they will be cooked in the second half. Well, we've seen that repeatedly, actually, this year with teams that Tennessee has played. Okay, NC State, prime example. NC State got 1 first down in the entire second half of that game, and it was because of a unnecessary roughness penalty on Tennessee. That's why they got a first down. If that hadn't happened, they would have gotten literally 0 first downs in the second half against Tennessee. Let's see. So there's evidence for that, is what I'm saying here. That's a good point, Sam. Papa J said 49-11 Tennessee. I'm trying to think of the 11. There'd have to be a safety in there.
A touchdown and a field goal, and they go for 2.
There you go. All right. Yep, that's it. Yep. Yeah, that works. They do like a trick play, try to get the crowd pumped up, go for 2, and yep, there you go. All right. Backflip Spaghetti said, I think the first quarter will be low score, then picks up in the second, and we have control from there. Okay, here's my thought on that. I think Tennessee scores a touchdown on their opening drive. And the reason I say that is because it's Josh Heupel coming up. Okay, here's the thing. Tennessee, historically under Josh Heupel, the opening drive of the game, they score almost every time. This year has been an oddity in that 2 of the 4 games, they did not score on the opening drive. That's then been the oddity that they're only 50% right now. Okay, you give Josh Heupel a bye week in there. Yeah, they're going to score on the opening drive. So I think Tennessee, I think they score, I'd say it's 7-0, 9 minutes left in the first quarter. That's what I'm going to say. Let's see. Jeremiah's calling the Hogs. That's awesome. I like it. Oh, Jeremiah, just come on, man. He said, y'all haven't faced anyone with an offense.
Interesting, because all we heard all offseason was how good North Carolina State was going to be on offense, and we beat them so badly they got knocked out of the top 25. Then all we heard was how good Jackson Arnold was and how he was just going to tear it up and down the field, and it was going to be a high-scoring game. And he opted out of the game at halftime because he didn't want any more. So, not real sure what we have to do to destroy offenses any more than we already have, but we'll make sure and do it again on Saturday so that you get get the full effect.
Yeah, the deal with Arnold at Oklahoma, Arnold was actually ranked higher than Nico in some recruiting services. And I think after that game, people will realize that might not have been the best prediction. The poor dude was running for his life. But all we heard all week is how, man, it's going to be battle of these 2-star quarterbacks, that kind of stuff. Nope, it was not. We'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. What might end up being really funny is if your rushing attack that has 2 guys in the top 10 in the SEC in rushing ends up with neither one of them reaching 100 yards rushing. That could be very interesting to see. I'll be very curious if that ends up happening or not. Let's see here. Braden said, I think Nico will be offensive MVP. I agree. And on defense, either Jamal McCoy or Arion Carter. I would agree. So Arion Carter could definitely be that guy because he's going to be spying the quarterback all day. Jamal McCoy, I don't think he's going to get any action personally. They're going to be running the ball too much or trying to run it. Jeremiah said an odds maker said Arkansas Pine Bluff would be favored by 6 versus Kent State.
Probably would. That would be 2 horrible teams going at it.
It's cool, bro. That's pretty good, man. Okay. I'm not sure what that was supposed to provide, but that's a cool stat for sure. Braden said I'm going to change his prediction to 49-13 Vols. I really just want to know what that was even supposed to mean about Kent State. Like is he saying like we played a tougher team than Kent? Like Arkansas played a tougher team than Tennessee did? I mean, I would agree. It was Kent State. Like St. Francis of Pennsylvania beat them. I mean, I would agree. Like they're terrible.
And we beat them 71-0, and it could have been 150-0 if we'd wanted it to be.
We scored 65 points in the first half.
I mean, I don't.
That's pretty funny. Elijah said, would love to have Jeremiah back on Sunday. He said he will be back. That's awesome. I'm glad. That's great, buddy. We look forward to talking with you then. Carl, he said, first time here. Good job. Been a Vols fan for 50 years or more. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, Carl. Great job, man. It's great to have you with us. And we're glad you're with us. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate that. Sam said teams don't understand the depth we have on the defensive line and the impact until after the game. That's yes. Thank you. Yes, that's an excellent point. That is an excellent point.
There's a
Destiny
reason. There's the reason they're the number one defense in America.
Yeah, because they're fresh the whole game long. If you get even just halfway breathing hard, you got 3 other dudes that can run in and not lose a step for you. Dester said 42-6 Tennessee. That'd be pretty sweet. And I think Arkansas might score more than that, but I'd love that. Sign me up for that for sure. Jeremiah said UAB is top 30 in pass defense, and he said that Arkansas can't make a field goal. Okay, I didn't know that, so that's good to know. Let's see. Balls Titans, welcome, buddy. He said Balls 45-24. I like that. I like that. I just don't know if Arkansas can put up over 20 points. I just don't know. Because I mean, let's be honest here. What's the easiest thing if you're a defensive coordinator, or forget that, if you're just playing defense? It's knowing that the opposing team is one-dimensional. They can either throw it or they can run it, but they can't do either one, or they can't do both really well. They can only do one well. Well, Arkansas is a running team. Like, that is the deal. They are one-dimensional in that way because they can't protect the quarterback long enough for him to sit back there and sling it downfield, that kind of stuff. So, because of that, Tennessee can pin their ears back and just come at, stopping the run all game long. It's not a good situation if you're an Arkansas fan. Not a good situation. Okay. Jeremiah said we are top 25 in talent, not far behind Tennessee. Okay. That's cool. Let's see. Kevin said, got to wonder how Dilfer was so dominant in high school at Lipscomb and went to UAB and can't build program. His thought is that Lipscomb maybe had a program beyond him where UAB doesn't. And honestly, funding. Like, now he's having to compete with NIL stuff.
Yep.
Let's see. Robert, glad you're with us. Let's see. Jeremiah said Jackson is leading the SEC in rushing. In the last 2 games, Russell was getting more yards per carry.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to get more carries because the number 2 guy's injured and out. So what? He's a 250-pound overweight freshman. We have 14 defensive linemen that are all going to be in the NFL someday. We're not worried about an overweight, slow running back, third-string running back. It's not going to matter.
Jeremiah said, just know if the Hogs can run the ball, y'all are in trouble. Our defense is lights out.
Oklahoma State and UAB might have a word about that.
Yeah, see, I get that, Jeremiah. I do. That would be the case, really, though, for any team if you think about it. Because if a team can establish the run, then that opens up the passing game. Problem is, I invite you to go back and watch the NC State game. I invite you to go back and watch the Oklahoma game and listen to the commentators. They are shocked at the depth and quality of Tennessee's defensive line and linebackers. It's like they're surprised, even though it's their job to research the teams before they get there.
Our defense has been so dominant that Greg McElroy, the Bammer of all Bammers, picked us to win the national championship this week.
I mean, I just don't think you're going to have the success running that you think you might. I mean, hey, I hope it's close. It's a fun game, but Yeah, I just don't know if it's going to happen. Backflip Spaghetti said Tennessee's going to play lights out and try not to even get scored on. I mean, yeah, that's what I agree. That's their goal, actually, when they step on the field. And they'll tell you that. I mean, probably every team would, but they like legit mean it. And they did it for 4 straight games. They didn't allow a touchdown. Let's see. Some folks are inviting Jeremiah to come back on Sunday with us. That'd be fun. I'd love it. It'd be great. He can rub our faces in it if he's right. Not going to happen, but I mean, I would love that. He said, we won't give up more than OU.
Sure. Are you leaving the sprinklers on for 3 days? Because that's about the only way you're going to slow us down.
So,
and we all know Bobby Petrino's ego won't let that happen. He will make sure the field is pristine because bare minimum, he's going to figure out how to get his, because he's got to think about his next job. So,
Bobby just said, just for Jeremiah, I'm changing my prediction from 45-9 to 45-3. Hey, somebody needs to send somebody on staff at Tennessee a link to our show tonight, so that they can show it to the team, and so the team can see, get ready for this vaunted Arkansas attack. Let's see here. He said, y'all completely underestimate Arkansas.
No,
buddy, I promise I'm trying not to, man. I promise I'm not. It's just I watched the Auburn game, buddy, and it was hard to watch, man. It really was.
and I go completely off numbers. 3 of your top tacklers are defensive backs. That means your your front seven's awful. Your DBs should never lead your team in tackling, and they sure shouldn't be 3 of the top 4. And then I look at a guy like Addison Nichols, who I knew in high school, and he had all the hype coming out of high school, but everybody around him knew he was soft. And people who are around him were like, he's just big. And when he gets to Tennessee, he's going to get exposed because he's soft. And he got to Tennessee. He got exposed. He got whipped every day in practice. They told him you need to find somewhere else to be. He ends up going to Arkansas. When Sam Pittman said at media day he was anchoring the offensive line, I knew y'all were in trouble then. Like that was not a good thing for him to be saying publicly. So I just go by numbers.
Robert's prediction is Tennessee 45, Arkansas 9. Jeremiah said Arkansas is 18th in the country on third down conversion percentage. That's good.
Did you see that question about the defenses they faced? Do you see that in the comments somewhere? I went and looked that up while we were talking.
Man, I'm way behind. Wow, I'm scrolling through them all now. Holy cow.
Yeah, you're not going to catch up anytime soon.
Okay, so I'm going to start skipping ahead and hitting ones that for folks that haven't commented yet. So Evan is an Alabama fan, actually, and Evan said Arkansas is going to get rolled this weekend. Welcome, Evan. Good to have you.
Do you see that question about the defenses they faced?
Yeah, I'll get there here in just a second. Chad, welcome, Chad. They hate us because they ain't us. Defense is going to shine, stop the run game, and offense going to roll down the field. Go Vols.
Yep.
Let's see. I think Arkansas stuffs y'all's run game. Yes, the number 1 run game in the SEC and 4th in the country. That's a bold strategy. Let's see. Max. Hey, Max must be an Arkansas fan. Welcome, Max. Max said NC State is terrible. Kent State and Chattanooga are terrible. Oklahoma is not a good team. Arkansas is in the bottom half of the SEC. He must be not an Arkansas fan then. It's been so long for Vol fans will brag about beating sorry teams. Okay.
So
thanks, buddy.
NC State was top 25 entering the preseason, and we knocked them out of the top 25. Yes, Kent State and Chattanooga are terrible because that's what you do with your non-conference games. You sell tickets and make money. We were all told Oklahoma was a playoff team, and Jackson Arnold was going to sling it all over and we were going to have a hard time stopping the run. And as I said earlier, by halftime, Jackson Arnold was begging not to go back in the game. So
well, they were a top 15 team at the time. They're a still ranked number 19 in the country. Of all the teams in the top 10 right now, there's only one team that has 2 top 25 wins, and that's Tennessee.
Yep.
So thank you for playing, Max. Let's see. Mr. Osborne, let's see. He said some Herb said, what's the defensive ranks of Arkansas's opponents?
There we go.
Year?
All right. So Arkansas Pine Bluff doesn't count because they're FCS, so we can't rank them against the other FBS teams.
It would be super high, though, if they were.
The best defense that Arkansas has faced so far is Auburn, who is currently 50th in the country. Next is Texas A&M at 52. Then you have UAB at 57. And then pulling up a distant fourth is Oklahoma State at 129 for an average national defensive rank of 72. They have not faced a defense in the top 50 in the country.
And just like Chad said, the number 1 defense in the country is rolling into town. Absolutely. And Chad said 45-10, go Vols. I think that's a great prediction. Braden said, fresh legs on the D-line are going to be one of our biggest, if not definitely our biggest asset this year. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Robert said it might be close in the first quarter. I do think Tennessee does score on their opening possession. That's for sure. Elijah said Vols win 51-10. I think that's a good prediction. Evan said exactly what's going to happen. So earlier we mentioned this exact thing. He said all you have to do is load the box and make Arkansas try to pass because they can't protect the quarterback long enough. So you just sack the quarterback. So, and see, that's another thing you got to remember, all the Arkansas fans who might be watching right now. The way that NCAA tracks rushing statistics is not like the NFL. In the NFL, if a quarterback gets sacked, that does not hurt his rushing yards for the game. However, in the NCAA, it does. And so let's say that their quarterback has a couple, scrambles and gets like 34 yards on 3 different runs, and he gets first downs. But for a team that just gave up 10 tackles for loss last week, and now the number 1 defense who leads the country in tackles for loss over the last 4 years of play is coming into town. So let's say the quarterback gets sacked 4 times during the game for a total loss of 17 yards, which is conservative if you're getting sacked 4 times. Okay, all of a sudden those 34 yards is now down to 17 total yards rushing. So that's something y'all got to factor into the rushing stats here is all the tackles for loss. Let's see. Sam said we're going to play 14-man rotation and keep them coming. That's exactly what's going to happen on the defensive line. That's exactly right. Let's see. Braden said he had to play in high school against Lipscomb's Dilfer's team at Lipscomb. He was a very good team there. They got to play some vol commits too, so that was cool, like Caleb Beasley and Edwin Spillman. Let's see. Rebecca, welcome. Hey, good to have you. She said at some point you just have to say bless your heart and okay, dear. I like that. Max said combined wins and losses versus Tennessee 8-11. Give me a break, LOL. Okay. I would also invite you to consider that part of what you're saying is just reiterating your point that you did last time when you're talking about Kent State and UTC. We are early in the season. Those teams are intentionally playing money games around the country, racking up the funding for their athletic departments all year long. They know they're going to lose at the start of the season. That's why if an FCS team ends their season 8-4, they still have a chance of being ranked in the top 10 in FCS, because those 4 teams were probably SEC, ACC, and Big Ten teams that they went and played. That's a stupid stat, man. Come out with better numbers than that. That stat means literally nothing, because you've already made the point that contradicts the point you're trying to make now. It's the fact that we played Kent State and we played Chattanooga, and they've been playing money games, just building up their athletic funding. Yeah, I don't get that point. And also, when you think about NC State and Oklahoma, well, okay, so you said combined wins and losses versus Tennessee 8-11. Okay, well, guess what? 4 of the 11 are Tennessee. So that means they're 8-7 against everybody else. So they have a winning. So thank you. They have a winning record against the rest of the teams on the schedule. I don't get that stat. I don't know why you just put that on the screen, man. Let's see. Jeremiah said he's happy we're happy, but he disagrees. That's cool. I love having other people from fan bases on here. It's fun. I'm curious to know what team Max is a fan of, because clearly he's not a Tennessee or an Arkansas fan. Let's see. Evan's a Bama fan, so we got a Bama fan on here right now. Let's see. Backflip Spaghetti said James Pierce Jr. should have a stats game. I hope so.
Yep.
Robert said we'll give Jeremiah some orange Kool-Aid on Sunday. He said he can't wait for the game. Me either, man. I'm just excited. I'm excited. It's ESPN game. It'll be so much fun. Let's see. Will, good to have you with us. Will said, I hear national procrastinators. I think it's prognosticators saying Arkansas might upset Tennessee. I don't see it happening.
I would love to know who those prognosticators are, because they need to be very careful with their wagering.
Let's see. Jeremiah said, OU's terrible. They will go 6-6. So Rustin actually predicted them. Go ahead.
Yeah. Preseason, I called they would go 7-5. So I agree with you on that one. I think they're wildly overrated.
Yep. But the AP doesn't. They don't think that.
It's coming.
Backflip Spaghetti said, if I'm not mistaken, UT has more offensive points to date than both Bama and Georgia in cream puff tune-up games.
True.
It's weird that Georgia scored more points, way more points, on Alabama than they did on Kentucky. That's weird.
They definitely play. I mean, that's a great example. They play to the level of who's on the other sideline. And that's something Kirby's got to make them stop doing.
Let's see. Evan said Tennessee scores 17 to 21 points in the first quarter.
I agree. If you remember that Missouri game from 3 years ago, it was 28-0 with 3 minutes left in the first quarter. I think we're going to see a repeat.
Brennan said, I wish I had the same confidence as Jeremiah. Don't tell him what I could do. Let's see. And one thing I will say this about Jeremiah, I appreciate, your love for your team. I think, though, Jeremiah, that what you're experiencing right now with all these Tennessee fans on here is that, man, we just came through from 2010 to 2020, the worst 10 years, literally the worst 10 years in the history of Tennessee football. Man, I remember us playing at your place probably 10 years ago. And we missed 11 tackles on one punt return that y'all ran back for a touchdown. 11 tackles. And it's because we had inept coaching and had nowhere near the talent that should have been at Tennessee. And, buddy, we've been there. We've seen it, and we see what's there now. It is a new day on Rocky Top. Like I said, 2022, Tennessee went 11-1. This team, or they went 11-2, I mean. This team, 2024, is deeper, way, way deeper and better than that 2022 team. That's why we're all so excited. This is the best defense Tennessee has had in probably 20 years. It's the deepest defensive line maybe ever. I mean, like, it's a wonderful feeling. Mr. Osborne said, if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee is undefeated after bye weeks under Heupel. You are correct.
Yeah, we gave that stat earlier. Under Heupel, they're 3-0 after a bye with an average score of 35-22, and those 3 wins were Texas A&M, LSU, and Kentucky.
Will said, as a neutral outsider with no skin in the game, I see Tennessee only losing 2 games, Georgia and Alabama. Let's see.
Maybe.
Braden said, also, did everyone see the post about with all Tennessee rankings in football, basketball, and baseball add up to 10, the 1 in baseball, 4 in football, 5 in basketball. The next closest was Bama, 32. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. Sam said Arkansas versus Auburn only had 4 tackles for loss. That's probably not good.
Auburn's offensive line isn't bad. It's just their skill players that are. I mean, the backup, the starting running back's decent. The backup running back's terrible. The quarterbacks, all of them are just bad. The receivers are average. Like, about all Auburn has going for them on offense is the offensive line.
Let's see. Big Dave just asked a question. So this game, and I'm making sure that I tell you the exact right time, it is at 7:30 on ABC. And so, yeah. Oh, okay. I read his question. He was just saying he just saw on ESPN2 that it will be on ABC. Yeah. I see what you're saying. So, yeah, it's 7:30 kickoff as the primetime ABC game.
And next week is a 7 o'clock ESPN game.
Yep. Manning Cast game. That's going to be fun. Let's see. Robert said, how many other teams could have beaten those teams as bad as we did? Yep. Slim said the Vols will fold Arkansas up like a 4th grade love letter. That was the second time I've seen that tonight, I think. Hey, that's cool. He said we're going to have red and white stripes in our stadium for the game. That's cool, man.
Cute. That'll make it easier to see the Tennessee fans.
Let's see. Actually, that's good to know because now Tennessee fans know wear orange because that's how you're going to be seen by the players in the stands if you're wearing orange. If they wear white, they could be sitting in a white striped section. So wear orange. If you're going to the game, this is your cue right here. Wear orange. Let's see here. Sam said, Arkansas against Auburn had 4 tackles for loss. Tennessee against Oklahoma had 11 tackles for loss. Evan said the reason Georgia put up so many points in Alabama is because their back end is young.
Part of it.
Evan said, "This is not your champions of life for Brick by Brick, Tennessee."
Nope.
Amen, brother. I might make this one thing its own video right here. This a little short YouTube short. This right here. This is not your champions of life or Brick by Brick, Tennessee. Ain't nobody falling on helmets anymore. All right, this is good stuff we got going now. Let's see. Hey, Backflip Spaghetti. He said, "Good night, fellas. We got a smoker to prepare. Go Big Orange to smoke them hogs. Remember all those times of trouble right now." Oh, well, so do you actually legit, are you about to go like smoke?
He
pulled
put
pork
that
or
a
something in
long
your
time
backyard?
ago. He's long gone.
Oh, I love smoking like pulled pork and stuff. So I was just curious. I mean, I know he's like also kind of might be just joking because it's the hogs, but I don't know if you start talking about smoking meat. I'm in. Let's see. Will said, "My home state team that I root for, fan base is spoiled. You guys are refreshing to see and hear genuine excitement and real hope for great things." Thanks, man. Jeremiah said, "Arkansas is hungry. We've sucked since the bike wreck. Now we got Bobby back." That's funny.
And
that's good.
Well, and the second half of that says, "And a DC that's on fire. Your defense is currently number 47 in the country." Not sure what would constitute being on fire with that.
Yeah, fair point. But hey, I'm glad, man. It'll make it even a funner atmosphere. It'd be good.
Evan said, "Different kind of fire."
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm almost caught up with the comments. I'm almost caught up. Mississippi Vol said, "Other teams are proud of their wins regardless of who it's against, but when we are, it's because they weren't any good. It gets tiring listening to other fans demand." Amen, brother. Amen. Amen.
I wish I had a montage of all the ESPN experts talking about how great Oklahoma was and how it was going to be such a great game and they were going to compete. By halftime, they were looking around going, okay, maybe not. Never mind.
Exactly. Ryan, welcome, Ryan. Good to have you, buddy. Good to have you. Ryan is one of our very, very longtime friends. He said, "I would like to see Heupel stay aggressive offensively and not go conservative in the second half like OU. Also, Squirrel needs a big game."
He's not going to go conservative. That was solely about field conditions and injuries, and everybody's healthy, everybody's back, and Bobby Petrino is not going to let him mess with the field because that hurts him. So the field will be in good shape. They don't have any injuries to worry about. They will not go conservative. And as far as Squirrel needing a big game, he's going to be covered by Danico Slaughter, so I would expect a big game. We've all firsthand seen Danico's coverage abilities. It ain't pretty. I would expect to see a lot of wheel routes to Squirrel so that Danico's having to fight through Chris Brazzell, Dante Thornton, Brew McCoy, so Danico's trying to have to fight through them and their defender to get to Squirrel. I would expect to see them do a lot of rub routes to force Danico to have to fight through other receivers that are much bigger than him. I think it's going to be a very long day for Danico Slaughter.
Yeah, and Danny said, "Hey, Danny, good to have you, buddy." He said, "I hope Coach Heupel shows mercy like he did for Oklahoma." So I don't think we will see that this time because, as Rustin just said, there's the both starting offensive tackles are going to be playing. The two biggest hits Nico took against Oklahoma were when they were dropping him back to pass, and Dane Davis just got his tail handed to him by the Oklahoma defensive line. And so they're not going to give opportunities for that to happen. And so that's why I don't think Dane Davis will see the field hardly at all in this game. And because of that, Nico will have more time to sit there and throw the ball down the field. Okay. If Arkansas held Auburn to less than Oklahoma did, and Oklahoma held, if A plus B minus C, and Oklahoma held y'all to 25, what makes you think we are not better than Oklahoma on defense?
And somehow in the midst of all that, Vegas still thinks we're a 2-touchdown favorite. Where did they come up with those numbers?
Okay, well, there's actually a video after the game with Oklahoma because Tennessee fans were upset that Josh Heupel dialed it back so much because all he did was run the ball in the second half. That's all he did. And Tennessee fans were not happy about that. Well, there's a video after the game of him telling Nico, I dialed it back because I knew our defense could handle it. Okay. Like he legit wasn't like trying to throw the ball down the field to score. He was trying to run the clock out because he knew our defense was so daggum good that they weren't going to score anywhere near enough points to catch up with us. Let's see. Jared said, so the stadium, the fans will look like candy canes.
Correct.
Yeah. Let's see.
Or the University of Indiana basketball's warm-up pants. Take your pick.
Yeah. Kevin said maybe that DC on fire meant dumpster fire. Maybe that's what it was. Elijah said is burning down kind of fire. Yep, absolutely. Sam said Rodney Garner has developed the Nolan Richardson version of football on the defensive line. Yep. Let's see. Jeremiah said our offense has put our defense in impossible situations, also against A&M. RTB, welcome. Good to have you. Said I can't be the only one that feels like Brazel's about to have a breakout game sometime soon. Absolutely.
Probably be this weekend.
Let's see. Nice. Jeremiah said stats are lies because of cupcakes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is why Vegas doesn't make money ever. Stats are lies.
Let's see. Brendan said, does YouTube have a feature like Microsoft Teams where you can call someone into a meeting? If so, I'm calling Jeremiah because I doubt he'll be joining Sunday. We will be here, Jeremiah, Sunday, 9 p.m. We'd love to have you join us. Let's see. He got a kick out of that too. He liked that. Braden said, got to head to bed. Got a game tomorrow. I'll be sure to watch the rest of the stream on the bus ride tomorrow. Have a great stream. Good night. Go Vols. Say we appreciate that, buddy. Hope your game goes well for sure. Kevin said, looking forward to that game, Braden. Jeremiah said, if I'm wrong, I won't want anyone beating Tennessee and we'll be pulling for y'all. Well, I agree, man. That's that because that only helps Arkansas, especially under the new rules that the SEC has put in place for determining who plays in the SEC championship game. That's the thing about the way this new setup is. If someone beats you, so like if someone were to beat Tennessee, all of a sudden that team has to be every Vol fan's second favorite team to pull for, because one potentially if we end up in a situation where there are multiple teams that have 7-1 conference records or something like that, and there's not a common opponent or something like that, there has to the tiebreaker is the other teams that they played. What was their average winning percentage against other SEC schools? So then all of a sudden, every other team you play, their average win percentage all of a sudden impacts if you get into the SEC championship game or not. It's bizarre. So everybody has to agree with you on that, because you're exactly right. If Arkansas wins, we got to be pulling for the Hogs, man, because we're going to need them to play well. Jeremiah said he will be here. Hey, we appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. Will said, what's your prediction for Iowa versus Ohio State? A whole lot to a whole little.
Ohio State by at least 6 touchdowns, and who cares? It's Iowa.
Yep. Big Dave said, good night, bros. As always, hit that like and subscribe button. I think that's a great idea. And he said, I'll see y'all Sunday night. We're going to end the show by going all the way back to a question Sandris asked at 9:26 p.m. So, Sandris, if you're still with us, you're the real MVP. She said, how far do you think the basketball team will go this year? I'm going to say at least Final Four. What do you think, Preston?
Monday night.
That's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to say at least Final Four, Wrestling Sands, at least championship game. Because I do think they will be better this year than they were last year because their roster is better.
Yeah. This is the best team Rick Barnes has ever had. So I think they absolutely, and they've got to do it this year because Alabama is going to be very good this year and they're going to be even better next year. So, this is the year they got to do it.
Hey, Sanders is still with us. That's what I'm talking about, Sanders. That's what I'm talking about. I like it. Elijah said he's excited for basketball. He said, night, bros. Hey, well, good to see you, man, as always. Jeremiah said, I like y'all. I really do. Pretty good fans considering y'all are number 4. Appreciate that, buddy. We're glad you joined us. I love it when everybody knows. I love it when fans from other teams join us.
I'll be the first
ago.
I'll be the first person to say I hope Sam Pittman survives this year. I like Sam. He's a great guy. I actually had kids. I knew him when he was an offensive line coach. I had kids that he looked at a previous school. And I hope Sam succeeds. I hope he survives this year. And I hope next year Bobby Petrino moves on somewhere else so he can get that sludge off of his program. But the rest of Sam I love, and I know he was forced into Petrino, and hopefully he doesn't have to keep him very long.
Yeah, I mean, I love it when opposing fan bases join us. A couple weeks ago when we were previewing the Oklahoma game, we had people from Oklahoma, Missouri, Oregon, all join us. So that was a fun night. So it always makes it fun and very intriguing. Sandra said she hopes that's what happens with the basketball team because Zakai has to be consistent because he didn't play well against Purdue. He's definitely going to be the leader on the court, no doubt.
Sanders, you need to go back and watch our episode last Thursday with Chris Dortch. Chris is probably one of the top basketball experts in the entire country. That's not hyperbole. His Blue Ribbon book is literally used by colleges as a scouting report. So he was on. He's been in Tennessee's practices. He has seen all these guys. He's watched the ones in the portal at previous schools. And he has nothing but positives to say about this roster. And I think the biggest differentiator between this roster and last year, if Zakai wasn't on the floor last year, sometimes we struggled to create offense. This roster has so many guys that can go score on their own. They don't have to have that creator. They can go find points themselves. And that's going to be very different.
I mean, like you said, she likes to hear that. Elijah said Zakai's going to win National Defensive Player of the Year. I'm calling it now, and he legit might. I mean, like that's a strong prediction because there's a really good chance he might. So that's a good one. Kevin said that he's excited to see the basketball team play. He's glad to hear that we think that they're going to be better than last year. Yeah, all their scoring last year came from one guy. That will not be the case this year. They got a bunch of dudes that when they step in the gym, they can put the ball through the hoop.
They legitimately could have a different guy lead them in scoring in 6 or 7 straight games. They've got dudes.
Absolutely. Jeremiah said he likes Sam Pittman as well. Elijah said we easily have the best defensive backcourt in the country with Okpara protecting the rim. This might be the best defense Barnes has ever had, and that's saying something.
True.
That's fair.
I would not want to be an opposing team and look up and see Zakai Ziegler and Jemai Meshack coming at me to guard my guards. Like it's going to be a long night for them.
Sanders said, I agree. I feel like this team is better because Santi and Triple J were so inconsistent. Kevin agreed with her on that. Yeah. Now you've got Milicic, you've got Darlin Stone Dubar.
Jordan Gainey's still there.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, you got a lot of defenders who can also really play offense really, really well. And
Cameron Carr,
mentioned Jemai Meshack on defense, so it's gonna be fun to watch.
Cameron Carr is crazy long and athletic. Like he creates turnovers just on sheer wingspan.
Yep. Green Wave, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. Will said, what are the top 5 basketball teams start the year? I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Alabama number 1, Tennessee number 2, and then everybody else.
Yep. Let's see here. Elijah said Sonny wasn't even inconsistent. He just wasn't good last year. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, he was a glue guy. He did a lot of little things nobody else did.
He was a major factor against Bama at Bama.
Yep.
Offensively and defensively that game. Robert said Sam probably has the best personality in the SEC, going back to Arkansas. Jeremiah said, if Arkansas runs the ball well to start the game, put on your seatbelts. That sounds good. He said, if we can't run the ball, we will definitely lose. Well, yeah, man, I agree. Because
yeah,
that's your whole offense right now. That is Arkansas's offense right now. He said Sam just needs a couple more years and he'll have Arkansas on track.
Problem is when your athletic director forces you to go hire an offensive coordinator against your will, they ain't giving him a couple more years. Like he's got to make it happen now, or there won't be a next year.
Mr. Osborne said, as always, great show. Thanks, Vol Bros. We appreciate you, Mr. Osborne. Elijah said he can't wait for Adu to return to TBA. He's going to get bullied. Yeah, for sure. That's going to be interesting for sure. Sanders said, what about the Lady Vols? How far y'all see them going? Here's my thing. I don't think anybody knows anything about the Lady Vols right now. I don't think you could get a preseason magazine and see what you need to see in that, because until we see them getting up and down the court and how they're able to play through that level of conditioning on a consistent basis, I don't know if anybody really knows anything about the Lady Vols yet.
I like what I see. I like what I see in workout videos. I like what I see in body compositions. There are some players who realized that they needed to change physically how they were in order to play in this system, and they went out and did it. I like what I see in athleticism and depth. I like what I hear about how they view players and how they're going to use players. And I think they have the depth. You got to remember, there's a lot of girls in this roster that can play at a high level and either haven't been allowed to this point or are transferring in. And I think they have the depth to play this system. I think they can easily make a Sweet 16 run. And if they get a good draw because of the style of play that they play, I could easily see them making it to the Elite Eight.
There you go. Let's see. I'm trying to verify something real quick.
Evan tweeted it out, and it for some reason has gone viral, and I'm not real sure why. But the video of Coach Caldwell talking about Jillian Hollingshed, I was very happy to hear that she recognized that Jillian has skills that need to be utilized. And I think the most telling thing in that video was when the announcer asked her what she thought of Jillian, and how Jillian was going to be used, her comment was, well, I never saw her in high school. All I had to work off of was film,
Bingo.
which was code for they had a lady here who could have been tearing it up and they weren't using her properly.
Bingo.
So I think that was an extremely telling statement. It was a respectful statement. She didn't call Kelly out and say they had a stud and they were limiting her. But if you've been listening for 2 years, you've heard me repeatedly say they've got a stud and they're limiting her. And I'm excited to see her finally play the way she's capable of playing.
Yep. That was my biggest takeaway as well, because the guy asked her, about Jillian's skill set, and she said, yeah, I had no clue, because all I had to go off was film. And without saying it, she said they have been utilizing her in completely the wrong way since she got here. And
Yep.
I was just like, that's sad, man. Well, clearly the kid can shoot and they wouldn't let her.
What I love was she saw it on day one. Like, it was the first workout and she was like, holy cow.
Unreal.
I appreciate that about Coach Caldwell, that in one workout, she immediately recognized, what in the world? What have they been doing with this girl? Speaks volumes.
Yep. Some of the other comments. Jeremiah, I got you, buddy. I see you're on there. I'll get you. Robert said Kim Caldwell is she's pregnant. She is pregnant as well. That's all he knows about the team so far. That's what he's saying. Rebecca said the girls are definitely leaner this year. I'm excited to see what they look like.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you that too, because they said that they are running like crazy because they know they have to be.
But I appreciate the fact that they embrace that. And they recognized, if we're going to play this style, we have to be a different type of player. And that says a lot.
Kevin said, I'd be interested in you all covering Danny White and the impact he's having at Tennessee and maybe his history for Yair. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Kevin, it's good to see you, buddy. Always glad you're with us. Sandra said, my thing about Kelly Harper, she tried to play like Pat Summitt and that time is gone.
Amen.
Sam said, hearing the Abernathy kid has real speed on the bases. He's talking about fall ball and baseball, which it was announced today that Wednesday, November 6th, the Tennessee Volunteers are coming to AT&T Field right here in Chattanooga for an inter-squad scrimmage in their World Series event that they do every fall. So that'll be exciting. They'll be right here playing in good old Chattanooga, which is where we are based out of. Let's see here. Sam said Kim Caldwell's husband is coaching for Rick Barnes. He is. That's true.
Justin's a really good coach. He's an up and comer. He was on the staff at Marshall. He's got about 10 years of experience at the D3 and D1 levels. What I love about that was when he was hired, they said he's not going to coach here. He's coming just to, he's basically putting his life on hold for her. And in getting to know Rick Barnes and being around that program and just talking ball, Rick Barnes was like, I need this dude on my staff. And so, he went from he's not going to work here, he's just going to be supportive, to the men's coach going, this is a really good coach. I need him. So it was really cool that Rick hired him.
Let's see. So James said, don't forget, if you can help, please help Northeast Tennessee, Western North Carolina, and Southwest Virginia. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Samaritan's Purse, Send Relief. Both of those are excellent organizations that you can send money to help there. They know what they're doing. They're in the area. They know what they're doing for sure. That's a very good point, James. Thank you so much. Sanders said, I also like how Sarah Puckett's looking. It looks like she lost weight. I also can't wait to see how Avery Strickland looks in this system.
So I was just looking up his bio, and this is just a fascinating little nugget. So I didn't realize when she was the head coach at Glenville State, he was the head men's coach at Glenville State. And they got to number 13 nationally, and he runs the same system she does. And his last year at Glenville State, they averaged 96 points a game.
Getting up and down the court a little bit.
I love that Rick Barnes looked at a guy who runs a system that averages 96 points a game and said, I need that dude on my staff.
So my throat's about done for the night.
Yep.
So we'll end with Jeremiah's last thing here. He said, our quarterback Green is in third place in the SEC on passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
He sure is, buddy. He sure is. He's thrown for 1,236 passing yards. Unfortunately, he only has 5 touchdowns. And he's been sacked 12 times.
And the average rank of those defenses is number 72 nationally. Saturday, he's facing the number 1 defense in America.
I would be most concerned about the 12 sacks. That's what I would be most concerned about. Like I said, Night Bros, love the long streams. I appreciate it. Just a reminder, if you haven't yet submitted your picks at thevolbros.com/contest for this week, those picks are due tomorrow. All the games this week are on Saturday. We got 2 late night games this week. So make sure you get all those picks submitted by tomorrow. And we hope everybody has a great evening. It's been a lot of fun interacting with everybody tonight. And I'm going to sign off here before I start coughing again. So go Vols, everybody.